Greetings and welcome to our daily walk through the scriptures for May the 17th. Your readings today found you in 1 Samuel chapter 22 and 23, where Saul continues his pursuit of David and does some pretty nasty things. Then you've got John chapter 10, verses 1 through 21, which sees Jesus making a couple of his I am statements. And then you have Psalm 115, 1 through 18, and you have Proverbs chapter 15, verses 18 and 19. Now, couple quick things, and then we're actually going to focus on Psalm. We haven't done a look at a Psalm in a while, and this is a good one to do. So first of all, as you read 1 Samuel 22 and 23, you're going to see David and Saul's dynamics go really, really strange, or at least start to go strange, okay? Obviously, Saul is out to kill David, and David is fleeing for his life, yet David still has a loyalty for Saul, and you're going to see some instances over the next few days where David recognizes God's calling of Saul as king. I touched on that a few days ago, but just be aware of those dynamics as you watch it, and take a look at Saul's relationship with God and David's relationship with God as this goes on. Also, when you talk about David fleeing to certain caves and things like that, there are actually some psalms that David wrote during those times, and I encourage you to look them up. Take a look at them. Look at the Psalms that David wrote while he was running away from Saul, and see if that gives you an insight into David's state of mind while this is going on. Some of them are talking about God's steadfastness, and other ones are talking about the struggle of being alone and feeling alone. Something I think we can all relate to. As for the John chapter 10, Jesus I am, we just finished a whole sermon series on the I am statement, so I encourage you to go to Cornerstone's YouTube page and check those out and watch those, and you can get a little bit of an in-depth on that. Okay, so Psalm 115. Now, the reason why I like this is because this psalm kind of makes me ask the question, how do I view God? Now, that could be a really huge thing, but let me ask you, there are a lot of people that look at God and they think of God as like a judge, as a policeman, as this hippie Jesus, and still other people look at God as this aloof, hands-off God that kind of lets us do whatever we want, and he couldn't care less. This psalm refutes that. As a matter of fact, it paints a very poignant picture of God and his love for Israel versus these false gods. So in verse 1, not to us, Lord, not to us, but your name be the glory because of your love and faithfulness. Okay, so this is how David starts off this song. And then he transitions and goes to an interesting question. He said, why do the nations say, where is their God? Our God is in heaven, he does whatever pleases him, but their idols are silver and gold made by human hands. They have mouths but cannot speak, eyes but cannot see, they have ears but cannot hear, noses but cannot smell. In other words, David starts listing all these ironic things that these people are worshiping gods, but they're worshiping them through idols that they've made themselves. This is one of the reasons why Christianity has an empty tomb as its greatest symbol. Now, I know you say, well, isn't that the cross? No, it's not. See, the cross is where death happened. The tomb is where resurrection happened. So while we remember the death of Christ, the power comes in the resurrection of the grave, and there is no symbol for an empty grave. But these people make these idols out of gold, silver, precious jewelries, and things like that, and then they bow down and they worship them as if they are the God, as if this thing that they made has power, which is really an ironic thing. I mean, you made it. Why would it have power? Doesn't the Creator have power over the creation? And that's kind of where David goes. Because he says here, all your Israelites, trust in the Lord, in verse 9. He is their help and their shield. House of Aaron, call on them. Trust in the Lord. He is their help and shield. Everyone who fears him, trust in the Lord. The Lord remembers us and will bless us. He will bless his people Israel. He will bless the house of Aaron. He will bless those who fear the Lord, small and great alike. Now, he goes on and he continues, and then in the last couple of verses, he says, the highest heavens belong to the Lord, but the earth he has given to mankind. Now, this is something that is very unique among Christianity. Remember, they have gods that are sky gods and earth gods and water gods. We've talked about this before. God is God of not only the heavens, but of the entire thing, and he allows us dominion. And that's what David's reminding us here, is that God is God over everything. He's not just God of some things. He's God of everything, and he has given us. He is the one with the authority. not some man-made idol that can't feel, walk, or talk. Our God is a living God. And not only is he a living God, but it is not the dead who praise the Lord, those who go into the place of silence. It is we who extol the Lord both now and forevermore. Jesus said this in his verses just a few days ago. Is not the God of the living? We very much serve a God who is not only a God for all, but God for all of eternity, meaning that we who do pass away eventually will be resurrected into new life to be with God forever. So there you go. So there's a lot in it. There's a lot of beautiful things and a lot of beautiful theology in the Psalms if you take time to look at them. Okay, that's our conversation for today. We'll talk more next time.